Hello, friends from the comic world. My name is Hector,
And my name is G.
and we're here to talk to you about the collected editions that are coming out during June 2024. G and I work for Penguin Random House, so the titles that we talk about are for the publishers that we represent, and we manage sales into the direct market around the world. Also, quick reminder, there's sometimes delays with production and books might be moved back. So there might be a few titles on this list that you saw on previous videos that we did. And that might be the reason. So always make sure you check twice when you get closer to on sales and FOCs. And we're also on social media. So make sure to visit Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. You can find us at PRH International Comics, and we'll leave some links for you to follow in the description of this video.
Mhm.
So the way that these work, we will go through our picks for this month, the titles that we definitely want you to check out because we're excited for. And then we'll do some highlights. We'll highlight some titles that we you definitely should not miss. And then we'll leave you with the rest of the list so you can see the full list of what's coming out as far as collected editions and graphic novels during the month of June. Okay, and without further ado, let's get started.
All right,
Ms.
first
G.
up is the Asiri Volume 1. This is a Afro-futuristic graphic novel. It's like X-Men meets Attack on Titan. So this is the creators from Unique Studios. So if you're unfamiliar, Unique has done several stories. Ianu, Child of Wonder is one of them, and Malika, Warrior of the Queen. And the purpose is for them to build this like universe in a way, and they also did like a crossover like title as well. So they just want to build this like expansive universe, and including this one right here with a series. And this one, the series have a special inner power that will allow them to manipulate technology in ways that are very unusual, never seen before. And they're in this golden age, this golden era with their civilization, but it's halted and devastated by this mysterious enemy that invades from deep space. So this once thriving civilization is now like thrust into chaos. Loyalty is quickly becoming a liability, and so it's reading about how they can strive for galactic stability in this story. So this is really for fans of like epic science, sci-fi, um, like an epic sci-fi space story for those who are interested. And it definitely got my interest here. Definitely check out the other titles from Unique Studios as well, especially before the animation. There's an animation for Ianu that was announced, so you definitely want to pick up on that one too before
Yes.
the animation comes out.
Next up on my first pick is Dark Spaces, the Hollywood special. And this is by Jeremy Lambert and Claire Rose. This is, of course, part of the Dark Spaces that is presented by Scott Snyder. He wrote a couple of the miniseries that are part of this sort of collection. And if you don't know Dark Spaces, the way it works is like there are different stories, and the theme tends to be there's a crime and there's something claustrophobic about it. I'm sure you guys have heard of other Dark Spaces titles, and this one obviously too did really well when it came out in single issues. If you and the story, I love this story because it takes you back. I think it is to the 60s, and it presents the main character Vivian. I forget the last name. Is the character that you see here in the front, and she's a Hollywood actress, and she's doing this tour and train across America, where she is stopping in different towns, sort of promoting her movie, promoting herself. Um, Back then there was no social media, so that's what you had to do. And she gets to this town, and there's something going on. And there's a miner town, and they go to the mine, and there's something lurking in the mine, and um, she's in the middle of it, and she sees some things, and people think that she's delusional and she's crazy, and nobody believes her. And it becomes this very psychological thriller, very suspenseful, horror obviously involved. And it's very reminiscent, obviously, and very inspired on, stories and movies like from Alfred Hitchcock and that kind of thing. And which I love. I grew up watching a lot of that. Not that I was alive in the 60s yet, but my dad has always been a fan, so I've always been a fan of that kind of sort of 60s, 70s um, mysteries, and like I said, thriller, suspense. But this puts a lot of heavier horror touch to it. And of course, there's the mine, which makes it a lot creepier. And obviously something lurking in there. There was a lot of there's a lot of Easter eggs throughout the story and throughout the illustrations, and they did for the covers too, for cinema, for older cinema from the 60s and 70s. And obviously, Vivian, the character, it's sort of that actress, that very famous actress from the era. It reminds me a lot of Janet Leigh, who was in Psycho and many other movies, but that kind of like bigger than life actress, um, that tended to play a lot of like main characters who were vulnerable to a mystery or horror or something like that. So I definitely check it out. Like I said, it is presented by Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder sort of picked and edited, basically decided which stories were going to be part of this collection. So that's his involvement, but also all of them are very cool and very different in their own way, but they give you the sort of the same atmosphere and the same feeling. Like I said, there's crime involvement, but it's also like claustrophobia, and obviously there's horror sometimes. So, and this one, it's very special to me, and I really recommend it. That's it.
All right, so my next pick, this is Kanto Volume 1, If I Only Had a Heart. So this is a title now at Dark Horse, and this is the first time we've ever gotten a hardcover, and it's deservedly so. This is very much like a modern fairy tale, and with modern fairy tales, they do deserve a beautiful edition. So this one includes so it is it's reprinted in a hardcover. It has brand new cover art, as you'll see, and it collects the entire first series with an extensive cover gallery inside. It has a sketchbook process section, and it has a new introduction by the legendary Stan Sakai, known for Usagi Yojimbo, which is great. And so, I- yeah, I've talked about this many, many, many times.
And we'll
Um,
talk about it many,
will
many more.
continue. But really briefly, this is a story about Kanto, who is part of an enslaved race of tin people, and he's on a journey to save his little tin girl, who he loves and adores. And it's an effort to try to save her life by searching for her heart. And if you didn't know, Kanto and his people, their hearts were replaced by clocks. And so there's a rumor that their original hearts are stowed away, and he's on this journey to discover and to reclaim their hearts back. Beautiful story, so heartwarming. I can't tell you how much like I fell in love right away within like the first couple of pages. That's all it really takes for you to get into the story. So I'm just really happy that we're getting a hardcover a collection for this.
Yes. Next up is Grendel Omnibus Volume 6, Devil Tales. obviously written by Matt Wagner, and there's various artists involved in this. Um, and Grendel's been around. I just realized as I was researching for this title, more than 40 years because it was first published in 1982. And this continued collection omnibus is very cool. And it's one of those characters that's never been extremely huge, but it has such a big cult following. I actually discovered it in the 90s when they did a crossover with Batman, and I had those issues when it did, and I fell in love with the character of I always forget the name of the character, something Rose, and he is a this character that is it started like as an assassin criminal, and then he became sort of the mob boss, and it kept going and going, and Matt Warner kept growing the story of Grendel and continuing, and obviously Grendel, it's the name comes from I think it was a ghoul or a monster that was part of Beowulf, the poem, the original poem. And then, but in this case, it's this one character, and it continues and continues. And here in this collection, we're coming up to a lot of the miniseries that were published in the 2000s, early 2000s. That includes Homecoming, Devil's Choice, The Devil May Care, and Devil's Apprentice. Um, it is very epic. It is, like I said, it's been around for a long time. The character of Grendel changed a lot throughout the all the runs, but also the encounters so many very interesting villains. There's so many interesting villains that I know that some of them sometimes show up on the top 10 or top 100 villains of all time in comic books. So if you never read Grendel before, I highly recommend it. And also bear in mind there are a lot of big Grendel fans out there that would love to collect anything that from Grendel. So check it out.
All right, next up we have Hunger in the Dusk, Volume 1. This is written by G. Willow Wilson, who's very well known for doing work on especially the Poison Ivy run that she's doing. And this one, it's a story. Well, I should mention this is in trade paperback, which is great. So we get this collected. But this is a story about a dying world where humans and orcs are like the remaining uh, races of people left behind. But human and orcs are mortal enemies for a very long time, battling over territory and political advantage. And so a group of fearsome ancient humanoids known as the Vangol all of a sudden arrive from across the sea. So I guess they're not alone.
Yeah.
And so the two struggling civilizations, the humans and the orc, now have to align with each other to defeat the Vangols. So they come together in this very like fragile alliance that they are forced to build um, to sort of push out the opponent force. And so it's in an effort for survival of their people, and that survival really depends on their ability to unlearn their biases and their antagonism, their instincts on killing each other. They had to
Mhm.
put that aside, have to learn to work with each other, especially with these main characters that you'll see in the story, that they really have to do that to rise above the differences to survive, to reclaim their own civilizations, their own people, to make sure that they still survive. This collects issues 1 to 6 of the very acclaimed series when it came out in single issues. And so Gila, listen, I'm such a fan and
Yeah.
got to meet her for the first time last year at a convention when she was promoting this. So, and
Yeah.
continuing to promote this with the trade paperback coming out. So, yeah.
Very cool. And next is Realm X by Torun Grombeck. Um, this is and illustrated by Diogenes Naves and Bruno Oliveira, I should say. Also, and this cover is by Stephanie Hans. I have this one, the single issue for this one. It's a beautiful cover. This is a spin-off or yeah, a spin-off of or part of the big event of Fall of X. It takes place right after Hellfire Gala, and it collects issues 1 to 4 of that miniseries Realm of X, and it sees a group of X-Men, Magic, Mirage, Morrow, and Dust, and also Typhoid Mary is involved in here on a quest, leaping from different, going into different. Uh, sorry, I lost my notes in here for a second, but um, I'm just gonna read from here. Badenheim. Sorry, I couldn't find. So going, they're stranded in Badenheim. They do have a quest because there's this evil force that is trying to, as always, trying to eradicate the X-Men and the mutant kind. And but also Majik finds herself with the her powers malfunctioning. So we see them as a disadvantage, lost in Badenheim. It is described in some of the reviews. They they talk about it a little bit of like X-Men and Wizards of the World, Wizard of Oz quest kind of type of quest, or Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. So it is a very fun read. It's only 4 issues and it's a cool collection, but it's also a very, even though you can read it separately, it is such an essential story, I think, of as part of the Fall of X, and things, very important things happen in it that will that have to do with what's happening with the X-Men now and going to happen with towards the end of the whole Jonathan Hickman run that we're going through right now on the single issues. So it is a very important book. And also, you know, if you're a fan of these X-Men, and of course, I'm a huge fan of Majik, especially, I highly recommend this one. You get to see her in all her glory, for sure. Okay, that's it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then we're gonna go to some highlights, highlight some of the other titles that are coming out in June. Go ahead.
Yep. So I'm starting off with Barda by Ngozi Yukazu. And continuing on, we have Jackson Lansing's Batman Beyond the Neo-Gothic Volume 1 coming out, and Kelly Thompson, The Black Widow. And speaking of Scott Snyder, we have Canary, and then by Jim Zub and Jose Haro, Dungeons and Dragons Fortune Finder.
And we continue on with Fantastic Four by Wade and Wirango Omnibus. This is a new printing. And we have a regular trade just cover, and then we have a direct market only cover right there. Then we have Hawker Once Upon a Galaxy by Judicia Axelrod. And then we have Hellboy, The Crooked Man, and the Return of Effie Kolb by Mike Mignola and other people. And then we have Jupiter Nettle of the Seven Schools of Magic by Sangu Mandana. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Yes, Mandana.
Mhm. And then,
I'm gonna
which
put my
is,
word. Sorry, I'm
yeah.
just gonna put my glasses off. There we go.
Um, which is really cool to see, like this box set collection of storybooks, by Neil Gaiman, which is a lot of fun. Obviously the art is so beautiful for that one. We have this compendium, and I like when DC does these compendiums because they're huge, like books in soft cover. But this is Lobo Big Fraggin, by Keith Giffen. We announced this when this was first announced. I remember the Magic Order Volume 1. So Mark Millar and Oliver Coipel were having that release, which is a
And it's
lot of fun.
coming soon, I think, to Netflix. So So
Yeah. So
be
definitely
on the lookout.
keep on the lookout for that one. From Toon Books, this is like folk tales from Latin America, night stories, great to have for kids. So this is
Um,
their Toon comics.
I do want to make the comment because Liniers, the artist for this and author, is huge, huge, an iconic artist from Argentina. And
Mhm.
if you haven't heard of Liniers, you should look it up. And even though this is for kids, also adults will get into it because of the art and how classic Liniers is.
Mhm. Okay, and then we have Operation Sunshine Volume 1. This is Blood Run. We've talked about this before when it came out in single issues. So finally, you'll be able to get it collected by Henry Sabrowski and Marcus Parks.
Then we continue with The Penguin, Volume 1, The Fragile Bird by Tom King. That's the miniseries that recently was published in single issues. Then Punisher Max by Garth Ennis, Omnibus Volume 1. This is a new printing of that. And there's a regular edition, cover, and then we have a direct market only cover that you see there. And then also we have a regular and DM cover for Rum, the original Marvel Year Omnibus Volume 2. And if you saw last year when the Volume 1 was published, it was a huge, huge success. It was one of the bestsellers of the year for Marvel. So definitely check out Volume 2.
Right, continuing on, we have Secret Six by Gelzone Omnibus Volume 1. I remember getting the issue 1 and having her
Yeah.
sign it back
Ah, cool.
back when that was first released. So really excited that we're getting the Omni for this. Synchro Swim by Veronica Argual and Lee Durfee Lavie. This is from the author of Just Roll With It, which is like the D&D young readers title, which you should also pick up, which is a lot of fun, especially for kids who are getting into D&D, but also the same
Yeah.
creator here. And then we have Omnis for Spider-Man by Michelini and Bagley Omnibus. This is the volume 1. We have the standard, and then we have the direct market cover here. And then we have Star Trek Strange New Worlds, this Scorpius run by various creators, Mike Johnson, Ryan Parrott, and Angel Hernandez.
And on the next slide, we continue with Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi by Jody Hauser. And then we have Straight Until Morning by Stephanie Kate Strom and Noor Sophie. Even with the glasses, I can't read the name, sorry. Super Pancake and the Mini Muffin Mayhem. I think it's like the
I
second or
love the
third.
muffins.
I know the muffins are so cool, and is that like a French toast hanging out and bacon behind the moon? Um, and this, I think, this is the second title of that, and this is by Megan Wagner Lloyd. I love the first one, so I'm looking forward to this one. And then we have for Super Sons the complete collection, book one by Peter J. Tomasi, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Jenica, the fifth turtle. Tom Walks, Brown Rebel, and a bunch of other people definitely involved on that one.
Okay, continuing on, we have Trick Pony by Greg Lockard. We have this 40th anniversary readers. So this is great for fans who just want to dip in, or especially if you're new to it, this is a good way to like get in. By Stan Sakai. This is I have to mention here. We talked about this in before. So DC is coming out with this compacts line of comics. So you can
Mm-hmm.
think of it as like iconic stories starting in June, we'll have these two, Watchmen and Batman, the Court of Owls. And then we'll have two at a time that's coming out in the following
Yeah.
months. And so these are like at like very competitive, likely cheap price points. This is really meant for like
Mm-hmm.
uh, what's that like well it's really
Nine ninety
meant
nine.
for
Yeah, 99.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
when I say it's like really affordable, it's like 9.99 for it's for especially for people who are trying to get into comics, especially with these iconic stories. So this is something that you definitely don't want to miss out on. And then we have Wolf Pitch by uh Balance Laurenthi.
Sure.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sorry, Ballas.
But looks a lot of
Yes.
fun here. Oh,
And that's
yeah.
it. That was
That's
it.
it. Start the story.
Thank you so much for watching. And
Yes.
we'll leave you here with the rest of the list.
Uh-huh.
Make sure to look for the links for our social media below. Thank you so much and keep watching our videos. Bye.
Bye.